Good afternoon. Welcome back to Me Being Cheap. The winter storm is starting to move in. I was just outside a second ago and it was starting to sprinkle. So I'm out here in the Midwest and we are supposed to get freezing rain and possible accumulation of ice. I don't know if they've decided what the final accumulation will be, but I'm going to carry some water out to the chickens. I usually just take them some hot water in a milk jug. It's not too cold out here yet, so their water is probably still thawed. Their water is on a heater, but sometimes it just cannot keep up when it gets very cold for extended periods. The other thing we're going to do is take them some food scraps, and then I have started to put the compost out there and let them work it in. So, hi girls. I'll probably get them some feed too. Watch out, girls. So they can actually work this, some of this is trash and some of it's actually food scraps. They know what they want to eat. See, they go right for the bread. There's coffee grounds in there as well. But they do a pretty good job of working the paper trash into the ground. So they're not big fans of the orange peels. Sometimes they'll eat it, sometimes they won't. But they will work all this in. And so this dirt becomes enriched. Get the coffee grounds out of there. All right. The water's just a little frozen. This one over here is the one that's actually on a heater. It's still unfrozen, that's good. We'll get them some feed. I'll show you what I feed them. That one's running with the big pizza crust. All right. At this point, I have no idea if the storm is going to be what they say it's going to be. Okay, so I feed them a combination of table scraps, vegetable peelings, things like that from my friends and neighbors. I do put eggshells back into their diet. As far as commercial feed, I feed them a combination of oats, fancy scratch, and the grain. I raise mealworms. I'll have to do another video on that later, but I do give them some live protein, especially during the winter time when there's not very many bugs. And then during the summertime, I raise duckweed in my aquaponics, and I feed them duckweed as well. They like all of it. I should say they like all of it except for this dry feed. They're not fans of it. So do about equal amounts. We've got the oats here, the dry feed, and this is 16% layer pellets. And the fancy scratch, sprinkle the eggshells in. Hear that thunder. I keep their food under this table, so you know when we get all that rain and stuff, it helps to keep it dry. Now I'm going to tear up this cardboard a little bit. Oop, that scared them. This is what I drain the bacon on. Tear it into smaller pieces. Why is the cat in the chicken house? Kitty, you need to get out of there. Silly cat. You're gonna probably wish you didn't do that. So as far as the dry feed is concerned, they like the fancy scratch the best, followed by the protein pellets, and then they like the oats the least amount. And I know this looks a little trashy out here, but I'm out here in the Midwest, and when I put this into the regular compost bin, sometimes this paper goes to blowing. So I like to put it in here, it's fully fenced in, and then the chickens just work it right down into the dirt. And actually, this is probably only about a week's worth that's out here. That out there with the old picket fence, that used to be my compost bin. But again, sometimes paper would get to flying, so this kind of keeps it a little bit contained. And chickens are pretty good about doing their thing. We're going to get this ice storm. This paper's going to get wet and it's going to start disintegrating. Try and keep things out of landfill. And usually what I do is I'll, right before springtime, I will scoop this pen out. And then I've got some that is actually a year old that I'll put into the garden dirt. Well, let's see if we have any eggs. Silly kitty. Those hens will get you. These are actually golf balls in there. One egg. They have really slowed down. Got to get that cleaned out.